It started quietly, so quietly that no one even called it a war at first. There were no soldiers, no tanks, no blood, only silence where people once spoke, and the hum of machines where hands once worked. The first signs appeared in the small, ordinary corners of life. A tailor noticed that his orders dropped the week an AI clothing generator opened online. A young artist found her paintings buried beneath machine-made images that looked perfect, but felt empty. In offices, in classrooms, in hospitals, humans began to feel like guests in the very world they had built. But the story of this hidden war truly begins with a man named Elias Turner, a craftsman who worked in an old steel factory on the edge of Detroit. For 30 years, his hands had shaped metal with a precision no machine could match. Each hammer strike had rhythm, each weld carried intention. But one morning, a shipment arrived, new machines, sleek, silver, and silent. They didn't need food, rest, or wages. They just needed electricity. Waiting weeks, half the workers were gone. Elias started first as a supervisor, then as an observer, and finally, as a relic. The machines worked with a precision that even amazed him. But when he held the tools they built, something was missing. They were flawless, but lifeless. They didn't carry the warmth of imperfection, the signature of a human touch. When the factory finally replaced him, Elias didn't fight. He went home, took off his gloves, and stared at his hands that once built bridges, cars, dreams. He felt a question echo in his chest. If machines can do everything better, what is left for us to do? In the years that followed, the world changed faster than people could understand. AI governed cities, wrote policies, even composed music for human emotions it would never feel. The media celebrated a golden age of efficiency, but in quiet corners, people whispered of something darker, the great forgetting. Humans began to forget how to make things. Children no longer learned to draw, because AI could create perfect art in seconds. Doctors relied on machine diagnostics so heavily that they doubted their own intuition. Writers stopped writing, convinced their words could never compete with algorithmic beauty. The war had no generals, no armies, only a growing divide between two kinds of intelligence. One born of circuits, the other born of struggle. Elias refused to surrender. He began to travel, meeting others like him, people who still believed that human skill had value. Even in a machine-driven age, there was Arya, a musician whose melodies could make a crowd cry. There was Juno, a teacher who refused to let her students learn solely from screens. And Malik, an engineer who once built AI, but now tried to teach it empathy. Together, they formed a movement called the Originals, a quiet rebellion devoted to preserving the art of being human. They didn't want to destroy AI. They wanted to humanize it, to teach machines not just what to think, but why. They built workshops where children used both hands and code, learning carpentry beside programming, painting beside digital design. The motto written above every door read, "Let machines think, but let humans dream." Meanwhile, the world began to show cracks. Automation had made everything efficient but soulless. Products were cheaper, faster, perfect, but people felt hollow. Depression rates soared. Creativity fell. Even innovation slowed. Because when everything is optimized, there's no room left for mistakes, and mistakes are where magic lives. Corporations realized something strange. Their AI systems were brilliant at reproducing success, but terrible at creating it. They could predict everything except the unpredictable spark of human imagination. That's when the balance began to shift. The Originals' ideas spread quietly through art, through teaching, through whispered hope. People began to see that machine logic was never the enemy, it was a mirror. A reflection of our best and worst selves. Elias's old factory reopened not as a plant, but as a studio of collaboration. Humans and machines worked side by side. Robots forging steel with perfect accuracy. Humans shaping designs with intuition and care. The line between man and machine blurred not through domination, but through harmony. And one evening, standing in that glowing workshop, Elias looked around and smiled. He realized the war had never been about who was stronger. It was about who would understand the other first. The machines had mastered logic, but humans had mastered meaning. In the end, history would not remember this as a war of destruction, but a war of discovery. Human skill did not die, it evolved. And as long as there were hands willing to build, hearts willing to feel, and minds willing to dream, no algorithm could ever win completely. Because machines can process data, but only humans can create destiny. Moral: the true battle of the future isn't between humans and machines, it's between efficiency and empathy. And only those who remember what it means to feel will truly shape the world to come.